Welcome guys! So not too long ago the legend Vishwanath and Anand agreed to take on the world in chess. Now what do I mean by this? Basically, a voting chess game was played. Both sides had 24 hours to move, so basically the world had 24 hours to come together, vote, and then obviously the move with the most votes would be played. Now in this day and age, a lot of people thought the majority of the world would cheat, but surprisingly this match was pretty wholesome and we didn't cheat. So yeah, props to us. Anyways, let's take a look at the game. So Vishwanathan had the white pieces, we had black, and here Vishwanathan started the game with c4. So we have the English opening on the board, and Vishwanathan, by not playing e4 or d4, has pretty much taken half of the word, most beginners, out of their preparation. So pretty tricky stuff. Now here we decided to play e5, which is pretty principled, pretty standard, just controlling the center. We have knight c3, knight f6, knight f3 and knight c6, both sides just developing their knights, but now Vishwanathan continues with g3 and decides to fianchetto the bishop and develop him this way. Now here we play bishop to b4, we have bishop to g2, and now that we prepared castle, well, we just put our king to safety, and we were probably expecting castling here, but Vishwanathan already starts to try to trick us. Here he plays knight to d5, and this is very provocative because now, okay, he has this knight way more active, but all of a sudden this e4 square is not defended and is inviting us to play e4. So what do? Well, we play e4, which is, okay, in theory the best move, but let's try to prove it. Why is it the best move? Well, this knight being hit is a bit annoying for white, because we didn't miss an opportunity to kick this knight because, well, the knight either has to go back, which is just nonsense. The knight either has to go to d5 and then line with the queen, this is kinda risky, or go to h5, but h5 seems actually completely stupid because the knight is almost trapped. Oh wait, the world champion, the ex-world champion plays knight to h4. And it seems like the only square here he has available is f5, so what do? Well, we simply play d6 and we restrict this square, so at this present moment, the knight pretty much has nowhere he can go. So, did we just win a piece? Well, is Vishwanathan forced to play like bishop here and create a square? What is happening here? Well, turns out he knows this position better than us. Who would have thought? And here he plays castles. And this move is pretty amazing, but it's actually pretty risky to play g5 here. And I'm surprised that we didn't play it. But let's take a look. If we are to play the g5 move, which is really the elephant in the room, what is happening to this knight? Because like we've seen, he has no squares, but Vishwanathan here would play d4. And this move is actually amazing because if the knight is taken, all of a sudden the bishop takes the place of this pawn and this knight here is pinned. And well, we wouldn't really have a good way to deal with this. If we defend with the king, well, this doesn't really help, the knight is attacking and we just lose our queen. So instead of taking the knight back here, we would need to play h6, guard the g5 square, and now it seems like everything is amazing, but not really. Because here, for example, bishop h1, preparing for the knight to run, so we just take it, but now bishop takes this pawn that was guarding this square, and after rook moves, the bishop goes back and it's the same thing. So this is just complete chaos, but guess what? The one of the best players in the world has everything figured out against us punny beginners. So, anyways, surprisingly, we didn't play g5. We resisted the urge to kill this knight, and we played rook e8, which, okay, Stockfish points out as a miss, but again, it was incredibly risky to play this move. So now Vishwanathan, he doesn't care about his knight, he plays b3 and he's now getting ready to fianchetto the bishop here. And again, this works out to perfection, but now we no longer resist the urge and we play again. The computer says it's the best move, but we have to prove it. So here we play g5 and we call the bluff on the world champion. So let's see. Here Vishwanathan plays bishop b2. This comes with an attack on this knight, so first we chop this guy off, we have a trade, and now this knight is attacked. And this is pretty interesting. Here we played knight to e5, which is the best move, but let's take a look, because this move is actually pretty tempting, because in the game we played e5 and then shenanigans came after f4, attacking the knight, attacking the pawn. But what if knight to e7? Because knight to e7 seems that our knight here is perfectly safe, and this knight is just going to die. So what is happening here? Well, turns out there's an amazing move that keeps equality here, and that move is queen to c2. Queen to c2, and it's just so random, but if the knight is taken, a3. This is really an amazing pattern, but the thing is, wherever this bishop goes, eventually he has to lose control of this c3 square. For example, if he goes back, we just kick it again, bishop b6, and now after queen to c3, white really has a complete entry here. For example, if knight f5 protecting g7, queen h8, and the game is over. So back here, basically we would have to give up the piece back, and white would have a slight advantage. So we found the best move. We played knight e5, not being too passive, and here Viswanathan played f4 and decided to fight now for this knight and fight for initiative here. So here we're kind of forced to take the knight. White takes also the knight to keep equality, of course, and now we took back with the pawn because the bishop was here, and this is actually a bit annoying because already the pawn structure is a bit weak. And here you might think, okay, Viswanathan will just take back the pawn since black is up a pawn and the game continues, but no. He replays e3, and this now it's a point where it really goes to show that, well, it was just a matter of time before the chess understanding of this world champion would kick in and the world would start to get crushed, because, you know, world champions aren't really generally pawn grabbers. Well, my next video will actually deny that, but most of them aren't. Anyways, here he's down a pawn, but he doesn't care. He plays e3 and activates this queen, because if you take a look, the king is pretty exposed here. He has almost no defenders. Well, he has no defenders actually. So it's perfect if we can just, you know, play queen here, play bishop here, and, you know, just kill the king. So let's try and do that, says Anand. And here, instead of, you know, playing something like queen g5 and, you know, trying to start an attack, trying to defend the king, well, no, we grabbed yet another pawn. Now it's where the problems start. You know, when you start grabbing pawns for no reason. Here, Anand plays, the world plays queen takes on d5, and yeah, the pawn grabbing instincts are just stronger. Because here, well, like I said, Anand plays queen to h5 with all the ideas I was saying. For example, queen takes on f7 is on the cards because bishop takes on e4 is coming. For example, random move, bishop takes on e4 and the game is over because this is threatened, so if the bishop is taken, queen takes on f7 comes, the rook is falling and the game is over. So back here, we have to find a way to deal with this. And what does the world think the best move is? Well, bishop takes another pawn, and yeah, the world might be up to 3 pawns, but is soon going to be down a king. The idea of the world is that, well, we're coming with an attack on this pawn, so bishop takes can't be coming because now we'd give a check, and after the king moves, queen takes bishop, and yeah, the queen would have to come back or the rook blocks, but this would be great for us. So instead, Anand, again, he doesn't care about pawns, so or trying to go for this cheap trick. So instead, he plays queen g5, protecting the pawn here. And after the king moves, we can play rook here and exploit the weaknesses of the black position. That is this weird positioning of the queen and bishop in the center of the board. And now also bishop to a3 is coming. That, you know, would for example, random move bishop a3. Black would have to block, but now rook takes bishop, and again all of these deflecting patterns are coming because the queen cannot do all the jobs at once. So in the game, we have to find a way to deal with this threat. We play queen to a5, trying to keep an eye on the bishop, trying to keep an eye on this a3 square, but we just can't cover it all. And now queen h6 comes, and this king here is just so sad. He has basically no one to guard him, so, you know, bad things are coming. Here we tried king to g8, but now a bomb comes. Can you find a way to destroy the world. Well, Vishwanathan did. Here played rook takes on f7, and the game is absolutely over because, well, he can just have the luxury of considering these sacrifices because we are just so badly protected. Everything near Vishwanathan's king is really protected. Well, on the other hand, this king is just sad. After the king takes, well, the rook f1 comes, the other rook comes to the attack. Now that the rook is completely exposed, and now the king tries to run, but after queen f6, the game is completely over. Because after king here, literally only move, we have Vishwanathan played bishop to h3, and now basically there are no moves. The rook is forced to block, but after queen takes, king goes back, rook to f8 is just checkmate on the board. So yeah, hope this was a good enough lesson to the world that pawn grabbing isn't a healthy sport, especially when you're facing such a strong player. You're just gonna get completely crushed. So yeah, my takeaway from all of this is that don't go pawn grabbing just for no reason. Try to think of your opponent's plans and try to not lose the game because you took the wrong pawn or 2 pawns in this case. So yeah, prioritize initiative, piece development, yada yada yada. You know it all. See you guys on the next one.